we didn't. And we'll spend hours
Going back
spiraling.
to yeah, there's this whole this is so many levels and so this is so layered, and this is
Mm,
so on time right now because I'm certainly looking at the experiences that I've had where I have just tried to be, and then, I'm just gonna say it. As Black women, I feel that we are the number one set of people that is everything to everybody until we're totally depleted. And then the minute we decide to stand up for ourselves, to support ourselves, to be one with ourselves, to have recognize our value, it's an issue because
hmm
for so long it has been expected. We have raised other groups and ethnicities. We have contributed to supporting whenever something goes down. We get called, and then all of a sudden, when we get tired and we don't want to be called on to support those individuals who don't even give it in return, they may
hmm
appreciate it at the time, but then they forget. I mean, it's like that's something that's playing out in society right now.
Yeah.
And some of us, we fall for it because of that self-talk, and we're not really sitting with what it is that's going to be important for us to do so we can be of service if we so choose to others.
We do
I'm
have,
choosing myself.
we are kind of ingrained with that service mentality where you feel like you do have to serve others and be accommodating to everyone else because you don't want to be seen in a different light or seen as that person that's not approachable, basically.
Mhm.
Like you
Mhm.
kind of wear down everyone's guard so that you're a lot more acceptable. Well, and not everyone, just speaking from like my experience, I do kind of come off a lot more light and bubbly. And I think one, it's natural, so I don't have to fake it. But also, I don't want anyone to feel intimidated by me. But, I mean, I'm not
Mhm.
intimidating, but you never know.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it
Yeah.
was learned because no one actually taught me. Maybe it was something that I saw, like maybe the movies or maybe in passing, because no one in my life has ever said, like, you have to be this way. It was just something that you kind of see over time.
It
I'm
could
like,
have
I
been
don't,
something that you observed from me as your mother because I was very much a people pleaser.
true. Yeah.
Guilty. And I'm a reformed people pleaser. Now it's like I don't give a
Yeah.
flip.
I literally, I went through, like I said, I went through my Saturn return, and
Mhm.
I have been a lot more I've been a lot more to myself, and I have been a less accommodating to people. I will do things for people still,
Mhm.
and I will help out when I can. I don't give out money anymore though. I will say that. And
Mhm.
I give my attention, my energy to people when I want to. If I don't want to, I'll like go somewhere else and like be in my own little like bubble.
Yeah.
And I'm learning it day by
Yeah.
day. I'm getting a little better every single day. But
Mhm.
it took a long time to unlearn that behavior. It's kind of crazy. And that is in
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
is a form of self-rejection too. You don't realize
Mhm.
that you're giving yourself so many people for so long that you're rejecting
Mhm.
yourself.
Mhm. Mhm. The
Crazy.
society that we've come up with has essentially, programmed and trained us to be that way, especially as women. And then when you have, the generations before you, such as myself, who has
Hmm.
always been, oh, you got to be a good girl, you got to be ladylike, you got to do this, you can't raise your voice, you can't, all these different things that we are told that we are supposed to be. Who said that? Who made up these rules? Somebody sat down and made up these rules, and it benefited them in some way, and it's been passed along, and it's something that you come to the realization that you have to unlearn. We have to unlearn a lot of things that have been taught to us, whether it's through school or whether it's through our parenting, whether it's through our family dynamics that we have. There's a
I
lot
broke
that
something.
is
Sorry.
there's a lot of things that we have to take into account that is the source of our self rejection and self acceptance.
Mm.
So yeah, and there's a lot of unlearning and relearning, and we have to reteach ourselves how to be good to ourselves and have grace. And I look back fondly on those things because they were lessons, and without those things being in place that I have experienced that weren't all very pleasant, it allowed me to have one, appreciation for where I am now. Two, it's added to the character of the person that I am. And
Mhm.
three, I get to pass that along to my offspring and anybody else that I either mentor or come in contact with, because I have a lot of unofficial godchildren, people that gravitate to me and consider me a mother figure. And, I naturally gave birth to five, but then there are so many others that kind of look up to me in a way. And I try to present myself to be the example in certain things. And I'll say all the time, you don't have to do that. You don't have to sit here and pour all of your energy into a person that is not reciprocating, being appreciative, or treating you with a certain level of respect. And we got to start teaching, men and women alike, because there are men that have the tendency to, need to have help with that as well. This is across the board for everybody. But I'm just making the observation that Black women specifically, I feel, are highly likely to be the ones who give their all and don't always get the support in return.
I will
Yeah.
say I second that. I do feel like it is across racial bounds, age, and background.
Mhm.
But it's work. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's worth it in the long run. And if we
Mhm.
can get more and more people, hopefully more and more people can like get on this podcast or listen to this podcast and receive what we're saying. And hopefully they're doing the work themselves. Because once you get past that level of seeing how you're affecting yourself mentally and like your subconscious thoughts can turn into self rejection or is self rejection sometimes, I feel
Mhm.
like it's you can grow into this blossom into this like beautiful person.
Mhm.
And when I saw that quote the first time, it was in the middle of the night. I was scrolling, like doom scrolling, and I was like, I really have to get off here. And it was like one of the last things I saw. And when I read it, I was like, wow, it's like I'm looking in the mirror. Like I didn't realize that
Yeah.
I have been working on it, and it's getting, like I
Mhm.
said, it's been getting better every day. But I didn't think
Mhm.
it was self rejection. I just thought like I just lived through a life of fear. But it's
Mhm.
not just fear. There's so many other aspects of self rejection that's not just the fear base. It's what you're doing with other people, what you're receiving from other people, what you're giving to other people as well. It's so many different things. So now that I read that, I have been trying to be a lot more mindful and not only how I speak, but how I speak to other people and how I speak to myself. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, we gotta talk about it. I think it wasn't even a couple
Yeah.
days ago. It was like a week ago, but I still saved
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Being intentional, and it's so
Hmm.
important to when you start to uncover some things about yourself and some of the self-talk and certain things and behaviors that you do. There's a lot of work that goes with that, and once you are, have this awareness, and it starts to open you up to other things, and more you start to attract more like-minded things, and especially with setting intentions. You don't want to continuously be in this cycle of dysfunction, and when you realize the dysfunction, when you recognize that this is not in alignment with who you need to become, you start to peel back the layers and start doing the work. And it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. It is. This has been a progression in the making since we were born. And into adulthood, we come to this awareness. We're in the age of Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius, where things are shifting and kind of like blowing up some of the social activities that are happening right now. And this is something that has been in the making and has happened over time. So it is gonna take time to break down some of those things for us to address that mental loop that we have in our head that creates these behaviors. We're changing the framework. Every time we have a conversation that leads us to understanding and then unlocking another door and then another door, peeling back another layer and another layer. I mean, there's layers to this. There's a natural progression that occurs. It can be fast, it can be slow. It's at your pace. It's at the exact pace that you need to have.
I was looking up the age of Aquarius. I remember you saying that a while ago and that we're going to be in it for a while. And I Googled what was it? I Googled what like the themes were, and a lot of it
Mhm.
was, what is it, community based. And I was so
Mhm.
surprised because it said that we just got out of the age of Pisces where you have to focus on yourself and like
Mhm.
more about like independence and basically self reflection. And then we come into the age
Mhm.
of Aquarius where I think it said
Mhm.
community, if I wasn't mistaken. And a lot of
Mhm.
the different ways to be successful was to have build a community and be in a community. And I
Mhm.
was like, wow, it's kind of
Yeah,
shocking.
everything is everything at this time is going to be focused on us being more community centered. And it's
Mm-hmm.
but in order for us to start being in community and show up the way that we need to, we still, if you didn't do what you needed to do before we got to this, that's it's going to make it that much more challenging for you
Mm-hmm.
to start doing that work within yourself. They call it shadow work. They call it, entering the dark night of the soul, and all these different emotional things happen to you to where you have to address some things come up from your past and so on and so forth. And whatever that looks like for you, if there isn't work that's being done consistently to get you to the next level so you can be of service in the community and society at large in a way that's not harmful to you, then
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take more. It's going to take more work. It's going to take more of an investment in yourself. Yeah.
I was just looking it up and it says the was it profound societal and individual transformation characterized by a shift from focusing on the individualistic me to a collective we.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, and I think
so
and
yeah.
isn't it interesting how we have things in the media with the government? I don't want to put too much time into that.
We
The
get
thing
like
that
15
recently
minutes.
Yeah, the thing that happened with the congressperson, getting unalived and in their home, our leadership spending all the money, however many billions of dollars to do whatever they needed to do, for their celebration, the trial with the justice system with the celebrity that is on trial right now. I don't really, I'm purposely not saying their names. I don't want to dip into that energy, but that's something that's happening in this society and it affects us in some way. And I think that those things being revealed right now is an indication of how much work we need to do in society,
Mm-hmm.
where we're experiencing, children and women being mistreated and other communities being marginalized. These departments that are being created to deport said individuals back to their prospective countries. Like, there has to be some sort of reform when it comes to us as a society because we are, in my opinion, behind when it comes to being a functional society, at least in this little corner of the world that I'm observing.
Yes,
I don't know what's going on.
we're not about the collective at all. Everything is self-motivating, even our government. Like, and I love living in America most of the time, but I will
Yeah,
say I saw something the other day that were like the government is supposed to work for us, but instead it's working us. And I was
yeah, I'm
like,
in total
whoa.
agreement. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in total agreement for that because I have seen too many things, these laws that are created, and we live in this society where having resources, money, monetary things,
Hmm.
it's the greed that said individuals have. People who have those positions in government or have the leverage, it's like they continue to get more and more and more. And if we had an even playing field where a lot of us had access to, health care and a home, like a shelter, food, clothing. I mean, if we had access to these things across the board, and we shouldn't have people who are homeless. Veterans shouldn't be
Hmm.
homeless. Children shouldn't be homeless. Women shouldn't be homeless. People with mental health issues shouldn't be homeless. There should be a place where they can house them. We have so many abandoned buildings. Why don't we have more nonprofit organizations that are organized to support those individuals who are on the street? And yes, they may have some mental health issues that are the reason that they're on the street. They can't keep a job, but at least they could be in shelter and not under
On the
the
street.
bridge, outside in the elements and things like that. For this country to be as quote unquote rich as they say we are, those things shouldn't exist.
Mm.
Even in these other quote unquote third world countries, there is a form or system in place of some form of government in place where they can set aside the money, but it's this greed. It's like there's this lack mindset that they have. And to me, greed is a lack mindset because it's never enough. You think
It's
that you don't have enough.
never
You think
enough.
that you have lack. People who are greedy have a lack mindset. I mean,
Mm,
it's like it seems like it doesn't make sense, but it does.
mm,
Because anytime you feel like you have to have more, that means that what you are literally, you're sitting on billions and
mm,
you want billions more. How
mm,
long do you plan on existing on this earth? You can't even spend a billion in this lifetime. And the
mm,
only reason that you possibly could is because something is priced that way. And
mm.
you're just transferring the wealth to that other person that you paid $1 billion for a plane or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So it's really interesting that they have set up this system to where it benefits those who have the leverage and they're in a position of quote unquote power.